Hello TT viewers, welcome back to our exciting episode of I Am Possible. I'm your host Neela. Today we are joining with Prasanthan Aruchunan, and he has just won a scholarship for the NHL program for youth in Ontario for the first time. We are going to meet him and we're going to discuss a lot of things and his exciting new venture that he's taking in, and he will also be meeting his coach, Tony Ray. He'll be joining us as well. So let's meet them. Hi, nice to meet you guys. Thank you for coming to the show.
It's nice to be here.
Yes, and so tell me a little bit, I will start with Tony Ray. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
So for the last 11 years, I've been working in the Toronto District School Board as a speech pathologist in the Jane Finch community, which is where I met Prasanthan. I'm the program coordinator with the Heroes Hockey Program, which is a hockey education reaching out society program.
That's great. So on what year did you meet Prasanthan?
He started the program in the fall of 2010, and I've spent basically 20 weeks, 20 hours a year every week on the ice with him for the last 6 years.
That's a long period of time. So you know a lot about him. Tell me a little bit about him and how he's on the ice and as a person.
Well, when I started volunteering, I was getting back to playing hockey and skating. So I was working with the more beginner skaters, and by the time Prasanthan was there, he was a good skater, and he was skating with the good skaters. I spent more time with him when he came back as a grade 9 and volunteered with our program. And for the last 4 years, he's been a volunteer with the program, and he's been one of our strongest leaders on the ice and off the ice.
Nice. So he's coaching right now to other children?
Yep, every
Younger
week.
children every week?
Yep.
So he's also practicing, he's also part of the program, he's playing and he's coaching.
That's right.
How many hours does he, does he have to, or does he contribute to this program?
During the 4 years that he's been volunteering, he's volunteered more than 150 hours altogether, including some of our side projects, such as volunteering for the North York Harvest Food Bank, volunteering for the Courage Canada Blind Hockey Tournament, various other types of...
So he's volunteering with Heroes now. Basically,
Yep.
he was a youth that came to take advantage of the program.
Yep.
Now he's part of the program,
He's giving
helping
back to the
others, giving
program.
back to the community.
Yep.
That is awesome. Nice to hear that. And so tell me a little bit about the Heroes program itself. And then, so we can then find out what does this scholarship mean to him as well.
So the program is open to, the program has evolved. It started out actually just in Prasanthan's school at Brookview when it came to the Jane Finch community, and then it expanded into another middle school, and now it's in 4 schools. 2 elementary schools that have grade 4 and 5 students, and then students from middle school in 6, 7, and 8. Those 35 kids go on the ice every week at York University at the arena, and over the years, we've had the high school kids come back. At first it was 1, and then 3, and then now we're up to almost 25 volunteers that are on the ice, and they're coming back to give to the kids and to learn leadership, to learn teaching, to learn patience. And they also learn to give back to the community in ways beyond the Heroes program, such as the food bank, as I'd mentioned.
That's great. So how many students, so this is an after-school program, so if they were in that school, they would be able to join this program with that school.
Yeah.
So it is definitely not outside of the schools, it is part of those.
It is a relationship between the Heroes organization, which is a non-for-profit organization,
and the schools. Okay, so he was part of that one school that did offer that program. Right. That's how he was able to get in. Okay,
and
that's
teachers
great.
Nominate the students There's some discussion about, we only have limited spots.
Right,
so,
this is what I was wondering, if you can't cater to the whole school.
Prasanthan will probably tell you, that he didn't get in the first year that he tried, and but that's the beginning of perseverance, which is one of the things that children learn when they're coming to Heroes. That he stuck with it and he got in.
So
when
there
he was
is
in the second
a
year.
qualification that that they have to meet.
There aren't strict guidelines.
Yeah.
We have some kids that are what I would call tough kids that need a program like this.
Okay.
And then there would be what I would call students like Prasanthan, who are stars that are given this extra opportunity and to make the most of it. And then we have kids that are kind of just in between, where a little extra attention, something to feel special about that maybe their siblings don't have, is enough to make them feel better about themselves and build more confidence.
That's great to hear that. So tell us a little bit about the scholarship that was awarded to him. And I will go back to you and ask you, of course, how do you feel? And and I want to get to, I want to see how you feel about it. But give us a little bit about how would this help him, and in which ways is it going to, how is it going to be used, and what is the grant, exactly?
So the scholarship is called the NHL Thurgood Marshall Hockey Scholarship, and it's very competitive. There are 4 criteria, one being high academics, the second being a strong contributor to their community as far as volunteer and charity. The third is that they belong to the NHL's Hockey is for Everyone program. So Heroes is one of the programs in Canada that belongs to this big organization in the States. So most of the children that receive this scholarship are from the States. It just happens that our Heroes program, this is the 3rd year in a row that our Heroes program has had a candidate win. The other 2 were from Calgary the last 2 years. And the 4th criteria is just to have financial need. So Prasanthan has probably been one of our strongest ever candidates to receive it, and it is worth $26,000 US that is spread out over the 4 years that he would be studying his university studies.
Wow, so it's contributed to his university studies.
That's right.
Not just to be able to play hockey.
No. And in fact, the requirement, the hockey component, is just that he belongs to one of these programs that belongs to the family called Hockey is for Everyone.
Everyone, I see. So then he has already done that. So now it is not mandatory for him to be in a hockey program continuously.
No.
No, he has already done that to be able to
That's right.
have that award. Oh, wow, that is great. And $26,000, you're going into university with that.
Yeah.
You're graduating this year.
Yes.
Awesome. Great work.
Thank you.
Awesome. That is great. And but I know that they were told that this is the first time that a young man from Ontario has received it. So basically it's between states and Canada that they choose these candidates and award them with this scholarship?
So the program's similar to our programs, and there's many of them in the States. If they have a strong candidate, we've actually never submitted somebody before because we haven't had a candidate as strong as Prasanthan
to qualify.
And it was actually one of the directors from our program that strongly urged me to urge Prasanthan to put in an application for this. And he was the one that also said that they've never seen an application as strong from our Heroes program across Canada.
Great, great. So you would be, you would make that mark for every Ontarian. Forget the Tamil community, not just the Tamil kids, youths, but the whole Ontario youth community is going to be looking up to you saying, wow, that's great work. We'll join you guys after a short break to come back and talk more with Tony Ray and Prasanthan. Welcome back to YouTube viewers for I Am Possible. This is your host Neela. We are here with Tony, Ray, and Prasanthan. And so, why do you choose you yourself? Why do you choose to be part of this program and volunteering? Because you're a speech pathologist. I would, So that is just this is something that Why do you choose to volunteer for how many years now?
Going on 7 years.
7 years continuously for that program every year. And how many hours a week do you put out there?
There are light weeks and there's heavier weeks. It probably would be during a season. There would be easily more than 500 hours put in, and each year it seems to be a little bit more and a little bit more.
So it's 2 hours a week or 3 hours a week?
It's probably, the on ice is about 3 hours,
and
but the off ice is probably another 5 hours. And as I have more and more youth like Prasanthan that needs advice about their courses, that needs advice about maybe getting a tutor, advice about choosing where to go to school, even dealing with things in their family life, those take individual contacts and pointing them to the right sources or the right resources that are in our school system or outside of our school system.
Have you had, that's great, and then you keep doing that every year. And why do you choose to do that for yourself?
Well, I started doing it because I had heard about the Heroes program. They had a little bit of media coverage, and I heard what was starting, and it was in a school that didn't even belong to me. And so I'd asked my boss and I'd asked my colleague that actually was working in that school if they wouldn't mind if I would start working in that school, partly for professional reasons. I wanted to, I work in the elementary schools that feed that middle school. So I wanted to follow some of those kids from that were little into middle school kids. And in Jane and Finch community, our middle school kids are probably the most vulnerable. That's when they need to have connections with people they've known from earlier in their lives. So the hockey program was a way that I could relate to more kids in a way that wasn't me, the speech pathologist. So not very many kids work with the speech pathologist, but as somebody that kids would see in the hall, they would recognize me as, Coach Tony, who's on the ice with them.
It makes them more comfortable to connect with you.
It does, and even, sometimes when I'm in a meeting with a parent, in a big meeting, I can point out that I'm also the coach of their child, and they may not even realize that because they just sign forms and they don't really know who they're signing and giving those forms to. So it gives me another way to relate to the kids and another way to relate to the families. And to a degree, another way to relate to the teachers. The teachers know that I'm not just a person who comes into their school to do this job, that I actually do other things with their kids. You actually
know about the child well-round, in and out of your office and in and out of the school environment, and where they're free to be able to be themselves. Because I completely believe in giving children, outside of the, I strongly believe in the education, but I also believe that outside of the education, the extracurricular activities, right? And that allows them to be free, to be able to express their emotions, their feelings, but in a different way, Because I've always, I've always seen kids, I've always promoted that idea of, you cannot just educate them and follow through the academics, and you have to see them on the other side and allow them to be on the other side of, these different things. It could be basketball, volleyball, hockey, And my brother was into hockey. And, always every morning, I would remember for certain years, it was just the stick and the pants with the torn, on the side, and then the patch. And every time you go out, it's just, every time I would see him, that's the whole package. You never see my brother. You always see the stick, and, anytime he comes out of the house, it was your life like, but I will come to you on that. Was your life like that?
No, well, not really, because all the equipment was stored at the hockey rink we played at. So Yeah, but
Ours was a bit different. I guess we were, you know, like you guys are much younger. I mean, we were back, and then he didn't have any, he had to bring everything with him, you know. And it was in a school, and he couldn't really store it, and was a smaller school. We barely have enough place to put our stuff, but it was a private school, yet it was a smaller school, right? So I'm just really excited to hear that. You know, when you talk about it, I can feel the environment and how you enjoy that moment with them, you know. That is so great. And so what is your, like when he comes to you, and when you have the first children coming to you, how do they react, or how is their emotions? I mean, explain me a little bit about how do you handle that and allow them to feel that they can also become part of it. They can also, you know, be able to play and be an expert on the ice. Because, you know, like when it's soccer, but soccer it's much easier because you have the ground.
Yeah.
But when you're on the ice, you know, and you don't know how to skate, and you see these kids going and just skating there, you know, wow. And then explain me, how do you get that child to become comfortable, and what is their emotion? And especially when he doesn't come from a hockey family. And does your dad no? Do you have any brothers or anyone that?
No.
So you would be the first one coming out, and you don't have any background, any support in the field. So you have many children from these different communities that are coming in, and they never seen anyone in their family play hockey. How do you, you know, how is that situation, and how do you make them
there's
cross
two
that?
parts to that, and the one is what we do as the adult volunteers. So there are children that sign up for hockey and not really know what they're signing up for. So, and some of them are
Were you one of them?
are afraid, like terrified.
What do you mean they
And
sign up and they don't know?
so they sign
just
up at
take out the
school.
paper
Well,
and they
no,
say, okay.
they want to play hockey,
Yeah.
but they have no idea what that means.
Oh, okay.
So when they put on their equipment for the very first time, they have no idea what it is. And we've actually made posters that have step by step what the pieces of equipment are and how they go on in what order, because you suddenly have maybe each year half of our kids might be brand new, and then half of them are returning kids.
Kids, yeah.
So those brand new ones, those are the kids you're asking about. And some of them are just so excited, and they'll get dressed and they'll just fall on the ice, and they'll get up and they'll just keep going. And then there will be kids that you see them on the bench and they are paralyzed. You can see even tears running down their cheeks. And so when it's mostly adult volunteers, what I would do is say, look for me on the ice and I will find you, and then you may spend that first practice, and this is why I sometimes didn't meet Prasanthan, because there would be one student like this, and you would maybe spend your first month only working with that student
child.
to get them, and you teach them that they're safe because they have all this equipment. So the very first thing we teach them is to fall down.
Just fall down.
It doesn't hurt to fall down.
Fall down?
Fall down.
Oh yeah, because they
and
have
then
their
teach them
equipment.
to
They
get
have
up
had them.
and teach them to fall down.
Next
because
time I'm wearing my pads. I'm not kidding.
So, but now that we have so many young, we have teenagers up to young adults
That
that
are
are
helping.
volunteers coming back,
Okay.
we can start matching, and I can go to a young person and say, look at this teenager. When they came on the ice, they look just like you. And that gives them hope because they see Prasanthan skating around, or they see one of the other kids skating around, and they can believe, I can do this, I just have to keep trying, because that's the hardest thing. Kids nowadays don't have very much perseverance.
Yeah.
We know that perseverance is one of the key qualities for success.
Perseverance is the key quality for success.
It is a one thing that we all need, and we've somehow insulated a lot of our children from experiencing failure, experiencing disappointment, and we're robbing them of opportunities to grow stronger and to learn how to problem solve and to get back on the horse, get back on your skates. And you know, the perseverance is probably even though it's not one of our hero behaviors, it's probably the thing that kids learn the most about is how to persevere.
In that,
But it generalizes to other settings.
Yes,
we
it
have
does.
we have high school students the same age as Prasanthan who are overcoming all sorts of these getting ready for college and university obstacles, and it's only through the perseverance that
yes,
they learn from on the ice.
On the ice,
Yeah.
yeah. It could be on the ice, it could be on the ground, but there's certain. It gives a. It prepares them, right, to be able to persevere. And I completely agree with you because as I know for our generations that we are so into not, I wouldn't want to say our generation, but generally we're seeing many of the parents or many of us that have children that we are not allowing them to see that you will have failure. You know, it's inevitable. And I saw something earlier. She's an entrepreneur. She's actually a successful entrepreneur. And she said, out of 7 ventures we have tried, there have been 6 that failed. Be ready to accept that you will fail, but that does not mean you don't try all 7 of them. You know, you do try it, and then you get up, like you said, you fall, and then you get up again. And then the pain of falling down, and even if you get hurt, you know, it's something when you persevere on it, when you are overcoming it, you know. And sometimes when they say, one of my doctor have told me that you're not to overcome your certain pain, you have to outweigh that pain. That means have more pain, so that pain becomes less of pain, and eventually both of them will heal.
Right.
You know, and he told me that he had a pain on his heel and he couldn't get rid of it. And he, you know, when we did all this examination, he couldn't find what was wrong with it. But the only way to do that is for him to run and have that pain, more pain on that top of that pain, and then that pain becomes irrelevant. It just becomes normal to him because he cannot get rid of it. Right, and this is something like that to be taken in life, where failure is inevitable. You will, you will fail, you will fall, because at the beginning of to reach somewhere where you have perfected. I'm not sure if you have perfected the hockey itself, but
not yet.
you can never perfect it. I think, right? There's always situations that arise, a lot of circumstances that arise, but not for you to have a general knowledge of anything. That either you're learning something, you're playing, learning to play music, learning to be on the ice. There's a certain period of time where you have to learn that, accept failure and overcome it, right? And to be able to say, whatever it is, let it come. I'm ready for it. But I accept that, you know. And that is a great thing what you have just said, because I truly believe in it. So you have said it really well, that perseverance is the key to the success. Now, tell me, Prasant, a little bit about how you met Coach Tony, and how he has helped you in different ways.
Yeah, so it's through the program, Hockey Heroes, as you guys know it. So in the beginning, I didn't really know Tony that much because, as you said earlier, I wasn't on his side. I was one of the advanced kids playing hockey, and eventually I got to meet other people. I was a very shy kid in the beginning, so I didn't really go up to every volunteer and be like, hey, my name is Prasanthan, and I'm part of the Heroes program. But eventually, through the parties and like the team games we used to play, I eventually got to meet Tony, and then that's how I got introduced to him. And overall, Tony has helped me do so many things. I mean, he is helping me a lot right now as well, like always looking to make me apply for scholarships, more scholarships, ways like I can be a better person, so yeah.
I understand. So when you first started to skate, did you already know how, because you just told me that you were advanced.
Yeah.
So initially when you started, who helped you out to learn how to skate?
Okay, well, I was one of the advanced guys, but like, it wasn't until like halfway through the program, right? So in the beginning, I didn't really see Tony on the ice that much because there's so many mentors, and like just getting to know them is a huge load, right? So in the beginning, when I first stepped on the ice, I fell like right away. Like I just slipped and I fell, and yeah, it wasn't very pleasant, but I kept pushing forward. I seen so many of the other guys who've been a part of the program before me, and the mentors kept telling me to, you know, just get back up, push harder, and push forward. And if you never give up, then you'll be like these guys one day. So yeah.
Did you have a mentor at that time who was holding your hands and helping you to skate?
Yeah, there was always mentors. There's mentors.
So there's
everywhere.
like many mentors
Many
there, and
mentors,
they would
yeah.
come to you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't
doesn't
have to be
matter.
one person. They
No.
would just come to you to
Yeah,
help
they'd
you
come
out.
to me, and some of them would stick around and help me out a little more than the others. But yeah, so they're always
So
there.
you're glad that he, like you feel very happy that you had a mentor here beside you to help you, not just to go through that program, but for your future to be able to get something really good for your education. And
Yeah, of course. I mean, I still can't imagine what it would have been if I hadn't met Tony before, you know? It's big, like
Yeah,
going through
because-
high school, and like there's a lot of work, a lot of things you have to do, like getting your volunteer hours, applying for universities, scholarships. Not everyone can do it on their own, you know what I mean? And Tony has helped me do everything.
Yes, because there are many students that are not aware of all these things that are available to them, and it's a very disadvantage when you don't have a mentor that really helps. And when you do go on these programs that you check through application, your head sort of spins, you know?
Yeah.
Even when you're adult, your head spins.
Yeah.
So when you're, you know, I remember like in college. So, so thank you, Tony Ray, for joining us on I Am Possible. Thank you, Prasanthan. Thank you, TET audience, for taking your time out to see us today, to join us. I hope you enjoyed the show. Until we see you next time, take care of yourself. This is Neela for I Am Possible.